Hello and welcome to our presentation. The social issue we will be discussing today is depression, and it is brought to you today by Mulu Guzman, Naomi Hawkinson, Valerie Fuentes, and lastly myself, Alejandro Montoya. So what is depression? Depression, clinically called a major depressive disorder, is a common but serious mental health condition that affects how a person feels, thinks, and behaves. It goes beyond normal sadness and can interfere with daily functioning, relationships, school, and work. So, in short, it affects all aspects of life, and it can look different in everyone. So, why does depression matter? Well, depression matters because it affects far more than just mood. It can shape a person's health, relationships, future opportunities, and overall quality of life, especially when it begins in early childhood. So, in this presentation, we will go over depression in greater detail. We will talk about the impact that depression has on children and their families, and on society as a whole. And finally, we will conclude this presentation with a couple of resources available to children and their families. As children develop, they begin to experience a range of emotions. You may find that children become sad, aggressive, irritable, anxious, reserved, hyperactive, and may find it challenging to sit still and pay attention at times. Distinguishing between challenging behaviors and emotions that are part of normal development and those that may be cause for concern can be difficult. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, parents should seek professional help when anomalies in children's behaviors have a lasting impact and last for more than 2 weeks. It is important to recognize that depression is influenced by a myriad of factors, and each one requiring different and multiple ways of treating depression. So, parents, together with a team of professionals, can work together to diagnose and treat depression early in a child's life so they may live fulfilling and prosperous lives. And so, now who's affected? Well, individuals of all ages can be diagnosed with depression, with the exception of infants and toddlers. It'll be kind of hard to gauge whether or not a toddler or an infant has depression since they have limited communication skills and are really dependent on others. And so now, negative feelings can leach onto close relatives or family members. So not only can a child become depressed or a mother can be depressed, but it can go, or a parent, but it can go both ways depending on, factors. Hello and
Hello, my name is Maluk Guzman. For our presentation, I'm going to be going over general issues, some key facts about depression, and my own foundation that I found for this. So, a little bit of the general issues is that there's this generalized stigma that comes and revolves around depression, and it usually revolves around people who might try to seek help, but often many people think they aren't really truly trying to look for it. And the reason that many people think they should avoid it is because they feel like they might be judged, or other people's opinions might have even more of an effect on them than they already do. So a lot of stressors would be schoolwork, different kinds of stress from work or school, or any like family problems, issues at home, and they all play into depression being a possible thing in many people's lives. Even if it's not like shown or really seen, it can always be a possibility. And there's always pressure behind getting things done at a certain point. When we look at schoolwork, work in general, like doctor's appointments, there's usually a lot of things that need to get done by a certain point or a certain time, or there needs to be deadlines for everything. So many times there is a lack of knowledge when it comes to depression and what depression is and what it can do to one's mental health. So obviously suicide is one of those things where it often affects not just the mental but the physical, and there's prominent symptoms or like signs that you can tell when someone is depressed and when they're struggling with their own mental health. Many people are undiagnosed or untreated while having depression. A lot of this is for the fact that it can be often untreated or diagnosed incorrectly. Oftentimes, like symptoms that are revolving around anxiety or physical health are just treated as something that will go away eventually, instead of being focused on how can we get this to be fixed now instead of later on. Some key facts would be that depression is a very common mental disorder among young teens and adults. It's something that can lead to suicide, which we often see in shows and movies portraying that. There is a fact that women are more likely to be affected by depression than men. So although there is a comparison, it is at times a little bit more of a difference where women do have the tendency of feeling depressed more often. And depression and anxiety both align with one another. So it's not just depression, but anxiety also has a big role into it.
Hi, my name is Naomi Hokusing, and my research looked at how children and parents experiencing depression impact one another. Parents and children can reinforce each other's emotional and behavioral struggles. If either a parent or a child is experiencing depression, the other is much more likely to experience depression as well. When parents struggle with pathological narcissism or emotional disorders, it creates a hostile and unsafe environment for their child. This can lead parents to prioritize their own needs or lead their children to have anxious attachment. Authoritarian and permissible parenting styles, in particular, ignore a child's needs and can contribute to a child's feeling of worthlessness. The way a parent responds to and treats their child can contribute to their emotional state significantly. In turn, a child experiencing depression can influence their parents' well-being. A child experiencing depression and feelings of worthlessness will often exhibit less warmth and affection toward their parents. This might create distance in their relationship, which can lead the parent to feel frustrated and like they lack connection with their child. This can trigger or worsen irritability, social anxiety, and depression in a parent in return. Both parents and children can impact one another's well-being and experiences of. Hi, my name
Hello, my name is Valerie Fuentes, and this slide is on the impact on children and families. Child depression can strongly affect both children and their families. Children may feel sad, lonely, hopeless, or lose interest in activities they once enjoyed or engaged in. It can also affect their concentration, school performance, and friendships. In short term, children may experience mood changes, sleep problems, eating changes, or social withdrawal. They will tend to isolate themselves in any social setting. Some children may struggle to express their emotions, which can make it harder for parents to recognize the problem right away. Parents are also affected because they may feel stressed, worried, guilty, or overwhelmed while trying to support their children emotionally and financially. If depression is not treated early, it can lead to long-term problems like anxiety, substance abuse, low self-esteem, and depression continuing into adulthood. What is the impact on society? Child depression affects not only families but society as a whole. It increases the need for mental health services, counseling, and school support programs. Depression can cause students to miss school, struggle academically, or have difficulty participating in social activities. Over time, these challenges may affect future education, career options, and productivity in adulthood. Child depression also increases healthcare and economic costs for communities. In severe cases, untreated depression can lead to self-harm or suicide, making it an important public health issue. This is why early awareness, support, and access to treatment are so important for helping children live healthier lives and happier lives. The resource I chose to focus on is NAMI. NAMI stands for National Alliance on Mental Illness. NAMI is one of the largest mental health organizations in the United States and focuses on supporting individuals and families affected by mental health, including children who are dealing with depression. The NAMI website provides a large amount of information about mental health conditions, warning signs, treatment options, and ways that can support families dealing with children suffering with depression. The website offers educational articles, support group information, and crisis resources. NAMI's mission is to improve the lives of people affected by mental illness through education, support, advocacy, and awareness. The organization also works to reduce the stigma surrounding mental health and encourages families to seek help at an early stage. One strength of the NAMI website is that it offers free and well-explained mental health information and support. It helps connect families to local resources and support groups. One limitation that NAMI does not provide is direct therapy or medical treatment. Families would still need to contact mental health professionals for treatment. Overall, NAMI is a helpful resource because it supports families and provides education about childhood depression. Thank you.
Children and Youth Behavioral Initiative is a statewide effort run by the California Department of Healthcare Services, or DHCS, to support the behavioral youth of young people in California. This initiative makes it easier for children, teens, and adults to get help at home, at school, and within their communities in a variety of ways. This program helps public schools, colleges, and school-linked sites get paid for offering mental health services. School-linked sites are community-based providers identified by schools where students can get free mental health services. These include therapy, counseling, parent-child sessions, education about mental health conditions, connection to community resources, and support from wellness coaches. This program has awarded 8 California high schools $8 million for the Youth Peer-to-Peer Support Program, which has been proven to improve youth mental health. Beyond school, parents play a critical role in their child's mental health, and it is incredibly important that they know how to best support their child. This program offers dyadic services, which involve a doctor or therapist seeing a child and parent together. These visits not only support the mental health of the child, but also strengthen the parent-child relationship. Furthermore, the DHCS partnered with Child Mind Institute to create videos to help parents support their children's mental health. Additionally, there are online mental health resources available which require no referral or insurance. These services include one-on-one coaching, help finding care, and peer support from people with lived experiences. Lastly, the DHCS awarded $381 million in grants to community programs and organizations across California. These grants focus on helping children and youth and promote racial equality and sustainability. Overall, this initiative increases accessibility to free mental health resources for children and their parents.
So the foundation that I found is called the Jedi Foundation. It's a nonprofit that protects emotional health and prevents suicide for the nation's young teens. So the mission statement is to protect emotional health and prevent suicide for our nation's teens and young adults, giving them the skills and support they need to thrive today and tomorrow. So a lot of the services and support that they provide do often revolve around schools, like training, different tools to improve students' mental health, or at least have some sense of support. There's suicide prevention programs, which we often see a lot of. There's mental health resources for teens and young adults. So obviously there's the ability of finding someone to talk to and being able to find someone that can help. A lot of other, some of their other support and services would be the JED campus and JED high school program. So they have different programs amongst different schools and campuses. And they have a transition support through Set Go. And they have an awareness campaign like Seizing the Awkward. So who it helps, the Jedi Foundation mostly helps teens and young adults, high school, and college students, especially family members. And they focus primarily on the ages of 13 to 24. They also help communities across the U.S., especially with different teens, young adults that are dealing with depression. They also help educators and adults find a way to be more informed about these kinds of things and be more knowledgeable on it to help others. So some of their strengths would be they focus on mental health depression prevention, suicide prevention, and educating students, family members, anyone they can. They have free online mental health resources. They partner with schools for long-term support rather than short-term, but some of their limitations would be that they don't provide direct therapy or counseling, which at times is a very big thing for many people that are struggling with depression. And some programs may not be accessible to all schools. So there will be some programs that the Jedi Foundation has that's accessible to certain schools, but it's not accessible to every single school they have. So the foundation.
One of the greatest resources that a person with depression can utilize is their local hospitals. So take Kaiser Permanente for an example. Kaiser Permanente's core mission is to provide high quality, affordable healthcare services. It operates as an integrated health system. So this means that it acts both as the insurer and the healthcare provider. And its aim is to deliver coordinated care across all medical and mental health needs. Its mental health philosophy emphasizes total health, treating the mind, body, and the spirit as equally as important. So some of the services that Kaiser offers are the traditional services that a hospital offers. So that includes clinical care, crisis emergency, self-care tools. This takes in the form of the website or the applications you can install on your phone, and the specialized programs. So this part includes the mental health care. So anyone can access the mental health and wellness support by going to the Kaiser website and going onto the mental health and wellness department. There, members can find an online mental health assessment tool, online classes available to all members and their families at no cost, and 24/7 one-on-one support coaches available by text, or they can schedule an appointment in a mental health with a mental health professional. So who does it help? Kaiser serves its members, and as its own insurer, anyone and their family can apply for health insurance with Kaiser and take advantage of the services provided by Kaiser. Again, that is the clinical part, the crisis emergency, and the specialized programs. So some of the critiques that of Kaiser is that some is the accessibility. Kaiser has a website and app that its members and non-members can use to make appointments for any of their services. But keep in mind that it also does serve a giant population. Kaiser often experiences high volumes of people, leading to longer wait times between follow-up appointments, sometimes 1 to 2 months between each other, which can disrupt therapeutic process. So this, paired with understaffing and high therapist turnover rates, can lead to external referrals that may also include long wait times.
In conclusion, childhood depression is a bidirectional cycle, meaning that parents can impact a child's experience of depression, and a child experiencing depression can affect their parents' emotional state in return. This issue is incredibly important because left untreated, it can cause both immediate and long-term emotional, social, and relational instability. Depression does not just impact the individual experiencing it, but also the people in their lives. Mental health is a family affair and should be treated as such. By making mental health resources more widely available to not only children, but also their parents, we can transform households into more secure environments for lifelong stability.